Alright, what's going on, you guys? Thank you, Lord Jesus. It's your boy, 3 Stiggity Stacks in this thing, baby, representing TKOG. And today I'm coming at you guys with my 3rd place X1 DRAGONMAID deck profile. So there was it was actually bigger than I expected. It was a case tournament this past weekend for the newest set, what is this called? Battle of Chaos. It was, a few of my homies actually came from Houston too to play in it. Ended up getting capped out because there was no more space on the inside. So like 30 plus players could not even get in because we ran out of room. Thank God I pre-registered online, so I was guaranteed a spot. And yeah, it was just really fun. Like, I had a blast there. I learned more about my deck than I thought I already knew. That just goes to show, like, you just never stop learning. Even if you've been playing a deck for X amount of time. I had to pull plays out my butt crack, basically, that I didn't even know existed. And it was just like, I was just going with the flow and kind of just making it up as I go along, because people were putting me in positions where I can't really play my deck the way I'm comfortable with playing it, and I was still able to beat them with plays that really didn't seem optimal. Like, you would watch me and think, oh, that's not an optimal play. Why would you do that? Why didn't you just do this, that, and the third? And they didn't realize, like, I can only work with the options that are available to me, and I didn't even know I was going to be able to pull this off. So I was just winning games, bro, like, with weird, awkward plays sometimes. Like, just so many cool interactions that I didn't even know my deck can do, and honestly, it was just crazy. Like, I was stealing people's DPEs. I stole quite a few monsters with Armogram and Glow, and it was just crazy. Like, honestly, I played, actually, you know, I'm gonna do the tournament report when I get into the list. I'll do the tournament report when I get into the list. But yeah, let's do this first. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing to my channel. If you are subscribed, click the notification bell. Make sure you do that. Leave a like if you like the video. Leave a dislike if you did not like the video. I promise you, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. And then if you want to support the channel, join the Discord. Honestly, joining the Discord helps a lot. And if you don't want to join the Discord, and you want to support my channel another way, you can become a Patreon member. Also, the lowest tier is $3. So it's like a really nice way to just help me out. And it'll help you in the long run, because I do give to those who give to me. And then in addition to that, even if you don't want to do any of those, just by word of mouth, just telling people about my channel really helps. Because, like, at the end of the day, I want people to be subscribed, but I want them to be subscribed because they want to subscribe, not just because someone told them. Because I don't look at the numbers and volume like, oh, I have this amount of people, I'm successful. Like, I look at it like, this amount of people, but how many people are actually watching? How many people are actually commenting? How many people are actually involved? Or, you know, even basically just present when they subscribe. So I'm looking for quality over quantity. So I will say, if you do consider it, make sure that you think about it. You know, if you're going to subscribe, really think about it. Like, do you see yourself watching this guy in the long run, or did he just make one video that you liked and then everything he made after that you were questioning? So those are things that you should think about before we get into the video. But yeah, so I finished X1. My only loss was to Sword Soul Tinny. And I'm not going to lie, I drew Baby Rock, Amorphate Sloth, Droplet Tiding, and Boot Sector Launch. So I couldn't do anything. And I won the dice roll, so I was feeling really nice. So I saw that hand. Then I won game 2. Game 3, I ended up drawing kind of weird too. I drew, I think, Lorpor, Mistleton. That game was just, my deck was just not happy with me that game. I drew Lorpor, Mistleton, Chamber, Warlike Cigar Dragon, and I think Ghost Ogre. He played through the Ogre, he comboed me, and then I think I top decked a Driver. So I was working with Lorpor to trade with 1 negate, and then I had, you know, Chamber Extender. And I pushed the best I could, but all I could do at the end of the day was end on Seal, and Seal was just not enough. It was like a bounce, but the thing was, like, I knew he had multiple follow-ups, and he forced the Seal with Vishuda anyway, so it was like he didn't even have to play through it. So I ended up losing that duel, but every other game I won. I played 2 Sword Soul, Tinny, Hulk decks. I played quite a few of those pile decks with the Brave, DPE, Scythe, Red Rose package, like all the bricks, all the engines. I didn't lose to any of those. People were hyping that deck up. I know a lot of people felt like that deck was super strong. I didn't lose to that deck. It didn't really give me a problem. I didn't even sweat when I played. I 2-0'd every single one of those that I played. I'm not even trying to sound cocky, but I feel like, yeah, it's a cool deck, but it's definitely not like super strong. Like, you raise your ceiling by increasing your decreasing your consistency, and you have a higher risk than I think the reward and payout is, because there's a lot of decks that I think can just do that, but a little bit better, and even if it's with 1 less negate, you can still accomplish and achieve the same end result, and playing more consistency cards, and having room for more hand traps. But anyways, I played Fluffles. He was undefeated in round 5. No, he was X1 when I played him, because I lost round 5, then I played that guy round 6. I played Sky Strikers, and I played Virtual World that I can remember. And yeah, I'm gonna talk about some highlights of the match. But I think the craziest, in the terms of playing through disruptions, the craziest thing that happened yesterday was and like, oh my goodness, everybody was like surrounding me. Like it was like 5 minutes left on the clock or something like that. A lot of people were done playing and they were watching me play. They knew I was recording and they were like all surrounding me. And I was playing against Striker DPE, and he had set one pass. I sided evenly and tried to make him go first, and then little did I know he had Anchor, Ashe, Valor, and Nibiru. And I played through all of them. I forced him to Ashe. I think he Ashed when I discarded for Cost off Ravine, and then he Widowed my Gator because he knew that was Crystal Wing. He had to Valor my Dragonmaid because he knew that would make Shell. And then he nibbed me when I had, I was getting ready to put up in a gate, but I had Seal, but I was getting ready to bring back the Gay Dirk, and with Pisty and Warlike Cigar Dragon, I was going to bring back Gay Dirk, and then banish Pisty to summon Red MD, so that way I could use Gay Dirk to get Baby Rock and Crystal Wing. He nibbed me when I activated Pisty, so Seal summoned out Tracer, and then I summoned out Red MD, and then I brought back a maid, and it was just crazy. I ended on Borlode Savage with Heretic Seal and Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, and he just couldn't win after that. It was just crazy. But I played through Ashe, Valor, Imperm, and freaking Nibiru. Like, you guys, I just felt really nice. Like, I was like, this deck's crazy. I remember I played through the full Sword Soul War, even though it's not, like, super impressive. Because it was just, you know, Blackout, face down Imperm with Baron the Floor and Chichao. But I feel like when your deck can consistently play through 3+ interruption, your deck, it's just, they can't tell me nothing. They can't say my deck's bad, or that it's not good, or it plays too many bricks, or nah. This deck's crazy, you guys. I played through, oh no, it wasn't even that day, but I know I've played through a lot with this deck. I outed Winda with Fleur de Lis, Punishment, and Imperm. This deck, it just deals with so much. Like, all the blowouts people think beats my deck, I have an answer to those problems. Like, I can out TC Boo and Mystic Mind with Downtime and Tidying. I can play around Droll with Parlor. Parlor summons Shao without searching. Parlor also deals with Schism, because if I summon Shao, they change Schism to Changeover. I summon Shao, they try to Fleur de Lis thinking I'm stupid. I just let them negate Shao with Fleur de Lis. I go in battle phase because they don't have a punishment target with 3,500 attack. And then I attack Winda, and they can damage step Alistair to put her to 32. I don't care. She dies. I force Fleur de Lis. All I'm doing is playing around Punishment now. And main phase 2, I'm just going to negate Punishment with Shao. And depending on whether or not I can play through it, I might just let it resolve so that I know Alistair's not a threat next turn. So this deck's just crazy. I can out skill drain with Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. This deck's just so goofy. Like, I can play through every hand trap. I get de-shifted, and I can still summon Shao plus Seal and Tidy. It's just crazy. All I do is sacrifice my follow-ups from the Maids and Grave, but I can just still beat them. Because if they're playing Shifter, I know what deck they're on. So there's like no single hand trap or blowout that my deck cannot play around. It's just I have to draw the cards. So if I don't draw the cards, that's fine. But my main deck is like a side deck. If you really think about it, I have that level of utility where I don't need to rely on RNGing into my side deck because I have searchable R-type specific cards that can beat the blowouts that would be my deck. I can play around Dark Ruler because of Seal summoning Sloth and having Tidying the bounces. They can Dark Ruler me, still get Scythe blocked, waste their battle phase, get their monster bounce, and they can't use their extra deck in main phase 2. It's ridiculous. This deck is so cracked, you guys. Tidying helps me to play around droplets a little bit better. It's just ridiculous. This deck is just so crazy. And the amount of hand traps I can play, I feel just is so absurd for it to be a combo deck. That has follow-up. My follow-up is sometimes scarier than the boards I've made. My boards have been broken, and I'll just literally crack their board on follow-up with Armorgram, Ravine face up, Tidying and Grave, Hospitality, and Nurse in hand. It's just ridiculous, you guys. This deck's so insane. So let's get started. Lots to talk about. You guys already know I'm hype. So top 8 yesterday, we decided to split. So it's 16 boxes, 8 people got 2 each. I would have played it out, but I had a migraine. I was hungry and sleepy, so I wanted to go home. I was just like, dude, normally I always play out, but I couldn't because I knew I was going to misplay a lot because I was too sleepy. So sorry for the rambling. I know people get mad at that, but if you want to see a profile and you just want to list, like, it's not a deck profile then. At that point, I should just screenshot the cards and just put a picture on my community post and say, here's my list. But I feel like profiles should be more intuitive than that, and it's important because people actually do value your experience with the deck because they want to know how the deck performed. They don't just want to see a list. They want to know how it performed, and they want to see how it performed. At least that's how I feel when I watch profiles. So for starters, I'm playing 3 Ravines, 3 copies of Remus. These are the most insane cards in my deck. Paired with Gamma, it's an FCK. I just literally just win. Every duel that I went first, except for 2 yesterday, I won. Just automatically won. One was because I bricked. The other one was because I had to play through 3 hand traps, and all I had was still Savage. But I basically, like, I didn't lose, but I didn't win automatically, if that makes sense. Like, I really should have been more specific. Every time I went first and full comboed, people picked their cards up in scoops. Like, I think the one person that tried to play into my board was like a Phantom Knight player, but he scooped in the middle of playing through it. Like, a lot of the times people see that board and just scoop, or they'll activate a card and then I'll summon Sloth and then they're just like, oh, you got it. So it's just like, it just feels so free. Like, it's just, this deck's just so crazy. Your deck's arguably just as good going second as it is going first. And with the terms of playing through interruptions, your opponent does not have control over when they get to interact with you. You actually control the tempo, the tide of the duel, and you control your opponent's actions in the regards that you force them to throw their hand traps in the trash can before they even get to stop your combo. Because you can put up Crystal Wing on the 5th summon, you can put up Shao on your 2nd summon. You literally can play around all the blowout cards. You put up negates in the middle of your comboing, and even if you don't put up negates in the middle of your comboing, the cards that normally would, that's only because the cards that normally would put those negates up before you combo got negated. So they have 2 choices. You either stop me from making Crystal Wing and Shao before I combo, or you don't, and then I make Crystal Wing and Shao, and then I combo, and now you need 4 hand traps to even simplify the board that I'm going to make. And you have to have a nib, because if you negate, and I keep my Shao on my house and my Crystal Wing, it doesn't matter that you negated Romulus and, you know, you stopped me from getting red and B access. It didn't matter because I'm still ending with negate. So your opponent doesn't, it's like a losing situation, because like I said, you force them to use their hand traps early. People can't hold their hand traps playing against me. You have to have Nib, Gamma, Imperm, and Ash. You have to hold those 4, and then just pray to God that I didn't have another extender, because it's crazy. Like, and that's happened. I've been nibbed, Imperm, Ashed, and it was like, okay, activate Nib, chain Crystal Wing, chain Imperm, Ash my seal, and I'm like, alright, bet. Activate Quick Launch, banish the Tracer, summon Red MD, bring back the mate that I was going to bring back off my full combo anyways, get access to Tidying. Come on now, still Tidying through Imperm, Ash, and Nibiru. Like, that's supposed to end someone's turn. That's like, I feel like people just feel helpless when they hand trap this deck, and I think you should. I think that there's just a lot of times if I open good, it just really feels unstoppable. So Parlor plays around Droll, it plays around Schism, Parlor plays around hand traps and negates, because if they don't negate her, she gets changeover access. Chamber plays around almost everything but Droll and Droll and Schism. So she's a Dark Soul, Winda can send her off Schism, and because she has to add changeover, she does not play around Droll. You can get a negate, like, Droll doesn't end your turn. Even if you get Drolled, you'll always be able to make seal and either Shao, Savage, or you'll be able to get Tiding. So your minimum worst case scenario, the absolute worst situation you could be put in, is you're forced to pass with 2 interruptions and crazy follow-up, which means you gotta get OTK'd, or they're just gonna lose anyways. But it's just crazy that these cards play around so much. Like, the Rimus is like the best card in my deck. Any card I didn't draw, I can just access it through the Dragoonity combos that I can facilitate. This deck is such a threat. Gaydirk always gets negated, and it doesn't even matter. They negate him, and I just make Romulus anyways. It's just so crazy what I was doing. I was pushing through so much. Like, this deck's just crazy, you guys. Like, these cards are just way too powerful, because, like, not only do your boards replace themselves, but when your board gets broken, you just make the same board anyways, minus 1 extra negate. Like, you can't make a second Crystal Wing sometimes, or a second Borderless Savage, but you'll still have Shao, Seal, Tiding, plus something else every single time. Like, Shao, Seal, and Tiding is like the replicated process of this deck. Like, you will always be able to remake that. It's just really, really cracked, you guys. This deck is just so good, it's gross. So these are all the good starters. I do play 2 Tracer, 1 Recharger, and Nurse. She is the GOAT. Like, Nurse is so crazy. On follow-up, Nurse is like an FTK, because Nurse gets you like a +3 every single turn. But when you have Nurse Hospitality, it's kind of even more insane, and you just get so much. Like, oh my goodness. And Parlor plays around Ghost Ogre. That happened twice yesterday. I was activating Shao on standby. They chained Ogre. I was like, that's fine. They thought they were going to bait my Shao. I was like, I'm smarter than that. I summoned Parlor, dumped Tiding. Tiding brought back Shao, and it was like, nice Thunder Dragon, bro. You just literally, like, activated Thunder Dragon to add another Thunder Dragon, except you had to discard the Thunder Dragon. Like, you just negged 1 for no reason. And you still have to play through Shao. Then they'll attack over Shao, and I'm like, start a battle phase, chamber effect, summon Shao, and it just pisses people off. It's so good. It's so good. It's just crazy. The other thing that's like broken too is like you Shao negate summon House, then you tidying them, and then House pops a monster, and they're just like, what does this do? And I'm like, bro, like Shao's crazy. Like follow up every single turn, and then like 2 interruptions. Shao's like consistently 2 interruptions plus 2 follow ups. Because you get the body on field, and then the body replaces itself with a tiding or hospitality, or you just get nurse off of Shao, and then you like go +3 like every turn. Like this deck pluses so much, it snowballs into advantage, and it gets really out of control really fast. So like you sometimes just win games just because you play the economy game where like you out resource your opponent, and they know that they can't really keep breaking your board because you're gonna keep remaking it, and it just becomes to a point where like they fold because they have no more plays left. Like I grinded Shaddolls out of their extra deck before playing this deck. Like, they had no more fusions to summon. Granted, the dude didn't know that Op Cologne could put the fusions back, but it's just like, that's not my fault. So I've literally just out-grinded people with their extra deck with this deck. It's just so broken. These are all the starters. Like I said, these guards were just overperforming all day. Like, they were trading with negates. Like, it felt like I couldn't be stopped if I drew good enough. I was clapping people, bro. I know that the Ravine always forced Ash and Ogre, and if I had Gamma, it was just like FTK. I remember I actually had gotten, I had discarded, this is what happened. I had discarded Armogram, so like, Ravine got Ashed. I drew Ravine and Rimus. The first Ravine got Ogre, the second one got Ashed. And then I ended up just normal summoning Parlor. I dumped Tiding. I made the Striker Dragon, got my field spell, used the Tiding, brought back the Parlor, and went into Romulus, got another copy of Ravine, I think. And then I summoned the Dragoonity Armogram and then made the seal, and I still won. Even though I like had to discard for cost twice to get hand trapped, my follow-up was just... this deck, bro. I was just telling you, like, this deck just too good, you guys. It's so fun. It's addicting. This is not a starter, but I'm gonna talk about Armogram, bro. Like, I stole DPE. Glow is kind of crazy, you guys. So, like, Dragoonity Glow is just broken. Like, this card is just not fair. So, like, you just equip monsters to Graham, and then you special them. I stole DPE. I took somebody's Mecha Phantom Beast of Rorodon and, like, specialed it off of Glow and popped their card with it. It's just so stupid. I was just, and, like, I thought about that play on the fly, because I had forgot I had to start my play with Glow. Because, like, I had got hand trapped, and I was in an awkward position, and I was like, oh, I have Glow, because I was like, dude, like, I should just activate his effect just so that next time I use him to negate, like, their monster would lose 1,000 attack, and it'll, like, this card beats over beaters. So, like, even if, let's say your monster has, like, 3,500 attack, like, if he has something equipped and he negates that monster, it'll go to 2,500 attack, then he'll attack it, and then it'll be equipped to him, and then, like, next turn, he makes a monster lose 2,000 attack. Like, this card is so good. He was, like, crazy, bro. I attacked Long Young and equipped it to him, and my opponent couldn't Taie because I bounced his Taie, so I knew he had it in hand. And he had the monster he discarded was the Tinyi Ashina, and I ashed it when he banished it because like he went Long Young, discard Ashina, summon and defense, make token, and then I sloth. I sloth bounced. I bounced oh no, because he normal summoned Taie, so he normal Taie, then he did that. And so I slot bounced Taie, I mean, not slot bounced Taie, I seal bounced Taie, summon slot, and then he realized, oh snap, I messed up, Long Young should have been an attack, so he tried to use Ashina, and I knew he was going to try to summon Vishuda and attack to attack over slot, so I ashed it, so he passed, and then I killed his Long Young, and then equipped it to this, so his Taie couldn't do anything next turn, even though I had negates. I stole DP against Strikers, he had to summon Dasher next turn. I was like, this card is so broken, bro, this card is so broken. Every turn force negate. You summon him, attack over Chi-Shao, Blackout's dead. I forced Baron to Floor's Graveyard effect, because, like, he knew, okay, so like, this is the thing, like, he had to negate it, because in my mind, I was like, if he doesn't negate this with Baron, I'm gonna attack over Chi-Shao and turn out Blackout. And he ended up doing that, and then I was like, okay, awkward situation, activate Ravine. I mean, no, not activate Ravine. I ended up normal summoning Legatus, tributed it off, summoned Mistleton, equipped the Armogram, and then Glow special Armogram. And he was like, all right, Blackout. And Blackout, and then I just had extenders, and it was just crazy. Like, this card was so broken. Like, it's not just him. It's just the whole deck. It's just the whole deck. It's so crazy. This is such a good and well-rounded deck. remember when I mentioned in the beginning of the video, like blowout cards that you play around? You can play around like every blowout card. Because you know people leave those smart comments that like Nibiru says hi to the chat or Dark Luna More says hello. And I'm just like Sloth says hello. They're like, their community one says hello. I'm like, Tidying Downtime says hello. They're like, Missing Mine. I'm like, Tidying Downtime. They're like, Skill Drain says hello. I'm like, Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spirits. I'm like, bro, Windows says hello. Parlor says hi. like, come on, dude. Drill says hi. Parlor says you're the buy. Get out of here. Like, this deck's just crazy, you guys. This deck is so good. Like, you guys have to see my duels, because yesterday I was just pulling plays out of nothing. Like, it was so insane. So Extenders, Glow, Armorgram, 3 Nocto Vision. Anytime my normal summon gets hand trapped, this lets me play through it extremely well because I make Romulus chain blocking and draw a card. I drew hand traps and extenders off Nocto Vision all day. People were trying to activate Vashuda to bounce my Tiding, Nocto Vision negate. Broken card, very, very good. And it's a high level for Shao. 3 World Legacy, this is one of the best extenders in the deck. I don't know why Dragon players don't play this. I see Dragon Link just doesn't play this at all. I would never not play this card. It's just too gross. You're like, because you'll have plays where like your Ravine gets ogred and you're like, dang, I'm neg 1. Normal summon, hand trap, they stop the Parlor. You're like, you summon Tracer. Like, one time, actually a few times, Parlor and Chamber traded with 2 negates. Because they negated their effect on summon, and then I Striker Dragon, and they just didn't even want to play the gamble of me already having Tracer in hand. Because if they... I realized their process, they're like, I have to stop them from getting Blue Sector, because if I don't, he summons Tracer, and even if I hand trap Tracer, I end up having to deal with Seal. So it was like crazy. So like they stopped that. So they stopped my normal summon, right? Like it was broken. I played through 3 hand traps. So like Ravine got ogred. I summoned Chamber, negate. Go into Striker, negate. Alright. Extender, make Romulus, Imperm. War Legacy Guard Dragon. Pisty. Bring back the Rocket Tracer that I discarded off of the Ravine. Link the Pisty and the Romulus into Seal. Tracer effect, pop. Seal Savage through... Oh, what was it? I think it was 3... No, it was 4. It was 4 hand traps, bro. 4 hand traps. Like, I was like, bro, this thing is broken. Like, oh my goodness. Like, this deck pisses people off. Every time they hand trap me and I keep playing, like, you could just see their morale slowly depletes. Quick launch. With the Rockets going second, they're always 2 bodies, because if you make a link with the Rocket, Boot Sector launch can bring it back, because your opponent always controls more monsters than you when you're going second. So quick launch is a 1-card Romulus. Normal summon Tracer, 1-card Romulus. Rockets are 1-card Seal. They're a 1-card combo, effectively going second. That's another reason why people were negating Striker a lot, because I was using Boost Sector launch that way any chance I got going second. It helps out immensely. That's why another reason why this deck's so gas. Just being able to extend with cards that you've already utilized. Like, it's just kind of crazy. Like, you already used Tracer to make a link, and then you get to bring it back. Like, come on, dude. Like, that's insane. Hospitality, I'm playing 2 because I don't want to dead draw. I don't play the amount of Dragon Maids I used to. I'm not playing Kitchen anymore, so that's 3 less targets. And I'm not playing Earnest anymore, so that's 4 less targets. So I don't want to dead draw, but I like 2 because as long as 1 exists in your deck, you're going to kill your opponent with your follow-up. So that's why I like 2. Red MD, Absol and Launch for the rest of the extenders. Do not underestimate Launch. The reason that, like, just the existence of this card made people negate Striker all the time. And it's like they have to. That's what I mean, again, about this deck forcing interactions. Like, your opponent does not get to choose when they hand trap you. You make them hand trap you when they don't even like it. That's another reason why I think a lot of people got upset when they hand trap me, because it's not when they wanted to, but they didn't have a choice. So it was really, really nice, you guys. Deck's just crazy. Red MD was goated. Hard is just insane all day. Like, Red MD is just broke. I don't want to play more than 1, though, because I don't want to play too many high-level dragons, because then I could start breaking on high levels and not having a normal summon. It's kind of weird like that. I play enough to where I can draw a maid plus a high level and just be able to make Shao all the time. But I'm not playing too many, because I'm just not trying to have hands full of those. And then for engine requirements, Lurper, Baby Rock is good and bad. I did lose a game because it wasn't his fault. Like, I'm not going to put it all on him, but if he was a normal summonable dragon, it would have been a lot better, because minimum, I could have just got a dragon on field for my Tiding, so I have Tiding bounce plus droplets against Sword Souls, and I think that would have been enough. Even though he bounced 1 with Vashuda, I would have had at least 1 interruption. And, you know, as long as I can stop Long Young, and he doesn't, I mean, stop Moyi, and he doesn't have Long Young, I feel nice, you know. So, it was helpful, but he did cost me a game. And then we have Sloth. It's just a high risk, high reward. Think of this as my DPE targets, right? These are the 2 Fusion Destiny targets. And then think of this as my Artifact Scythe, and the Draco Steeds. And this is the Journey, the Journey of Destiny. Think of these as those kind of bricks, right? I play 5 of them. The difference with these, though, is if I hard draw Legatus, it's kind of broken when I do, because like I'll draw Legatus, have Remus, activate Remus, get Ravine, then I'll special summon Legatus, bring back Remus, make Gaydurg, and now it's like I don't even care if you Asher Ogre Ravine, because now I'm gonna get Gaydurg's effect, and I'm gonna add a normal summon, or I'm gonna make Crystal Wing, and then if I already had a normal summon, I'm gonna combo anyways. So he's kind of crazy when you draw him sometimes. Even Mistleton, like that situation where I told you like Armorgram's Graveyard effect got negated, and I tributed a Dragoonity summon him, and then a Dragoonity glowed back the Armorgram. Like, it's kind of nice, not gonna lie. And minimum, you can make Shao with him because he's a high level. Same with Sloth, minimum, you can make Shao with him because he's a high level. Baby Rock, if you draw him and your hand... Like, these are only terrible if your hand's unplayable. Like that hand I told you, like, Baby Rock, Sloth, Droplets, Tiding, and Boot Sector Launch. That was like a worst case scenario too, because this, and the Boot Sector Launch are all one-ofs in a 60-card deck. But it's... I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I prayed, and all honor and glory goes to God because he answered my prayer not yesterday, the day before. Lord Power is even insane. Like, when I draw this going second, it's nasty. I did draw it against a Sword Soul deck. I activated targeting Chi-Xiao, and my thought process was if he negates it with Fleur, I'm fine. But if he doesn't, then I'm fine too because Chi-Xiao's off now. So he was just like, he didn't really have a choice. His card's kind of crazy. And you add it back to your hand. This is another thing I forgot to mention my follow-up. Like, your follow-up's crazy, right? Like, you'll have Ravine, Armorgram Engrave, Changeover Engrave, Tiding Engrave, Hospitality and Nurse in hand. And then sometimes I'll even do this on purpose in battle phase. I'll use Parlor or Chamber to summon this. And then in battle phase, I'll bounce this, summon them back. So that way I can start my turn with Lorper, Force and Negate, Armorgram, Force and Negate, Ravine, Changeover, Hospitality, and Nurse will just combo after that. So I can force 2 negates every single turn before I even play. That's so broken that every single turn you could force 2 negates. And then your follow-up's so gross, if you normal the Nurse and they're like, aha, I imperm you. You baited my 2 negates, I have imperm, like, activate Hospitality. They're like, aha, I ghost spell you, and you're like, Ravine. Like, come on, bro. Like, this deck's crazy. Like, I even got put in a situation where, like, my opponent thought he was going to side block me because he imperm droplets me. And I'm like, okay, you're nice, bro. That's cool. That's cool. So, like, he's like, oh, I'm going to activate DPE. So, like, I'm like this. Draw phase, chain tiding to DPE. And he's like, okay. So then I summon Shao. And then, this is the thing. Like, so he goes, no. It was the other way around. My bad. It was the other way around. So I activate tiding. And then he chained DPE. Because I was like, draw face, because I used temporary priority. I used tiding. He's like, chain DPE. Alright, so DPE gets it, pop sight, and I bring out Shao. And then and the only thing that sucked was I couldn't wait till standby, because I was scared that he was going to activate DPE in standby. Because I knew, like, if I chain it, and this gets summoned, DPE would just pop this. So, like, I had it, I negated the scythe, I summoned out House, and then I just started comboing my main phase. It was just crazy. It was like, bro, like, oh my goodness, oh, this deck's crazy. So, changeover in 3 tiding. This is the rest of the engine requirements. You just can't really play without these. Like, tiding is just broken. This outs DPE as well, as being an out to Mystic Mine. There can be only one in any floodgate in the game. It's just broken. It's 2 follow-ups because the monster you bounce is a follow-up and it's affecting Graves as a follow-up. So it's 2 follow-ups and 1 interruption. Has a lot of utility and a very high impact. It's very, very powerful. The hand traps, let me check the timer here. Okay, hand traps, 3 Gamma, 3 Ash, 3 Ogre. Imperm kind of underperformed. Just only because, like, well, it was like the same with most of my hand traps, but Imperm kind of underperformed, like, against the the engine deck, because like, they would always start their plays with the Brave engine, and they'd summon, like, the Griffin Rider, and it's like, Imperm didn't do anything. But, like, if I had Ash, I could Ash the Enchantress, or Ogre the Journey, or Gamma the Rider, and then it's, like, it's a lot harder for them to combo. Like, they have to open a lot better. So, I didn't really like Imperm that much, but it was still helpful. And I knew I might play Trap decks, and I wanted to be able to negate Floodgates with it. So, it's still useful. And then I had Droplets. The main thing with Gamma, Droplets, and Imperm is these can be used against PK to stop the Scythe block. Because if you hand trap them once, you cut off their access to Griffin Rider, and then you can safely negate the Scythe with any of these. So these are really helpful, and Gamma's just broken. When you discard for cost of Ravine and you hand trap, it's just game. So these cards are just really, really helpful. I play 15 going second cards in a 60 card deck. I like my ratios. I like that I can play so many hand traps and it works. The extra deck is 1 Shao, 2 House. Again, Shao negate, summon house, tiding, bounce, house pop, and then standby house effect. Like you go standby, tiding, summon out a DRAGONMAID, activate its effect, and if they don't have a response, you go chain house. It's so broken. Like your fall of it. This deck's just gross. Warlord Fierce really helps a lot. Sometimes I use my battle phase to cheat out resources to get card advantage back, so I can have better discards and main phase 2s for Ravine. Then I'll use this to pop a monster that I wasn't able to attack over. Overperforms. This deck's broken against trap decks because you could get Furious and Tidying. So minimum, you'll pop 2 back rows before they even get to activate them. So this deck's just powerful. 2 seal card's absolutely insane. You just gotta play 2. Sometimes I want 3. I sometimes miss the second Romulus, but a lot of the times I'm able to bounce it off of the Savage. I'll equip it to Savage, still bounce it. So that way I have a second Romulus. Because this is like your Isolde. This is Cherubini. This is Hockey Fibrax. This is like your Link 2 that makes the deck work. Not make it work. It works without it, but it's just so good with it. Striker Pissy. Borosword, I only summon like twice. But he does out like towers as monsters, and he does out Dragoons. Scarlight, Boiled Savage, Crystal Wing, also out Dragoons. This also helps a lot when you're playing against that, it's not very popular, but Ignister, because you can Crystal Wing, negate your Shao, and then Crystal Wing will be at 6,500, and you can still, like, gain. It's just kind of crazy. Like, Crystal Wing is just kind of broken, I'm not going to lie. And then we have Heretic King Atun. Card is the LP of the deck. It makes the deck go it's so much better with it than without it. But that's why I don't mind playing the bricks. And even my bricks are combo pieces if I just draw at least minimal optimal hand. So yeah, that's the deck profile, you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I have so many crazy stories, but I don't want the video. It's already a long video, so I'm going to upload the duels, and you guys are going to see what I was talking about for myself. For yourself. This deck's just so crazy. I love it so much. I'm going to open my boxes, but not in this video. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't want your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content, and y'all have a good night. Peace.